Hello everyone, in my previous video I attempted to make a Saturn V replica here in Kitten Space Agency Early Access given our limited engine selection, considering they're all LR91s except for this one, but I missed an important detail that Demonicus pointed out, and that's that there is a scale mode here. I was not expecting that because if you have a scale mode, why do we need this tank and that tank? Right? I mean, okay, there is this little bit of trim here, but that's about it. Otherwise, these two tanks are virtually identical looking. So why do we need both of them? So that's why I didn't expect there to be a scale mode, because there were these two tanks, and they're just basically one scaled up over the other. So there's no point to having both parts. But anyway, fine. Let's make a better Saturn V then. So first we need a smaller service module, and we don't need the roundy bits up here. Somebody had suggested landing the Saturn V on the surface and then launching it, but then given my capabilities, I will definitely tip it over, so we're not doing that. So yeah, let's just set that idea aside. This is the thinnest service module, so it's the best adapter we have. But really, maybe we don't need an adapter then. If we can just scale things, we can just have a normal service module like a Apollo service module. Let's see. So we can scale like this. Unfortunately, the attachment node definitely goes awry then, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay, so the scaling should be scaling by the attachment node. So it'd have to detect where it's attached and only scale in that direction opposite the attachment node, and then move the attachment node. So that's not really how that works yet. But that would be complicated too. But then they've sort of set themselves up for this, right? Anyway. Okay, so maybe this isn't the best tank. That tank looks a little bit better. We might as well try for the best. That's pretty close too. Now, the thing is, we would want to scale in two axes the same if we're going to scale sometimes. Maybe one of these gizmos actually does that. Symmetry, no, not really. Well, anyway, this will be good. It's sort of like that. So there we go. Even though it's a Gemini capsule on top, we've got something resembling the right thing. Do we scale engines? Is it? I guess so. I guess we can scale engines, but this is about right. But we can make it longer like this. That's probably not something you want to do with an engine. It would change the stats quite a lot then, right? So, yeah. Well, we'll withhold judgment on that business. There is a local and global here, or ASMB, whatever that is. I guess it's not global. It's whatever ASMB is. Okay, I'll just pick up a new one of these. That's fine. Okay, so then we would want an adapter to the S4B stage. So then that's pretty long and more like this. It's like this, but bigger. Maybe we should use that one. Oh, it attaches there? Is it a good thing for it to attach there? I don't know how this is gonna work as far as staging is concerned, and whether it is all going to end up good at all. Decoupling wise, I don't think I'm going to want to put a lander in there right now. That might be overestimating how this is all gonna work. Okay, so what would look right? This looks right. Well, not long enough though. I like the fact that it has the black top on it, but why do we have this one and this one? Why are these two separate parts? There's this one, that there, and then this one. That's LF. This is MP. So this is monopropellant, and that's liquid fuel. Couldn't they just make that a toggle in here? And uh-oh, it's doing the visual thing. Uh-oh. I'm not entirely sure why we have this one, and that one. Well, this one has verniers, so we don't want that. But this one and this one seem to have the only difference being that this one is heavier, which would be more correct. So let's go with that. Okay, that looks like an S4B, maybe a little bit short. The fact that the red is up and the x-axis is a little bit weird here too, but maybe, no, that's, yeah. Even though Z is like that, the default for the tank seems to be having XB up. Now, if I have to pull this apart, this is going to be a mess because the nodes are all in the wrong place. All right, I think I have it complete. You'll have to forgive me for not showing all the details of all the tweaking and repositioning that I had to do. Also, slapping on extra tanks so that these engines can be attached because they don't surface attach. But I am troubled by the fact that even though I have interstages, I use them from up here, these interstages, they don't seem to be appearing in the staging sequence in this version, or with the way I've done it. I thought that they showed up in the previous version, but I did update since the previous video because they do release new versions that often. So either it's because the way I attach them, or it's because of this version. Now, I can test that pretty quickly. I mean, the problem is we've got all these embedded sort of places for the interstages, but, well, we can have it here. Well, that doesn't show up. Does it only show up when it's at the bottom of the engine? But then we don't even have a node at the bottom of the engine in this case. So, I don't know what to make of that. Now, we are missing the fins and the fairings around the engines, but they aren't really big F1 engines anyway, so I think I'll have to omit that. Let's see what happens since we don't appear to have any interstages, but I think you'll agree this is certainly more of a Saturn V than it was before. The exact proportions of the stages might need some tweaking, but I'd probably need a reference image for that. So let's take it outside and see what happens. That's still under mass. I don't know where our missing mass is. So I think what has happened is that scaling the tanks up with the gizmo doesn't add more fuel. So it looks right, but we don't have enough fuel in the system. And we don't have the mass of the Saturn V. So the scaling doesn't do that right now. So that's an important piece of information to add into the situation. But we do have thrust, right? It says no propellant for active engines. Maybe it's because of these small tanks that I attach the engines to. Let's see. But it should flow through them. Maybe they just need some propellant in order for it to flow through. But the center engine should have been lit. It's actually connected directly. Oh, now we've got thrust. Okay. And we do have the 14 thrust-weight ratio, basically. Well, it's just not operating like a Saturn V, and it doesn't have the mass of the Saturn V. But it looks more like a Saturn V than the previous version. We do end up having a lot more delta V, apparently. Ooh, maybe we should focus on the head there. I think it's depleting fuel from everything. Yeah, the interstages aren't blocking it the way they did before because of the way they're attached or some other issue. Maybe I just picked the wrong decouplers. Oh, well, it's not a coupling. Oh, okay. So this is an interstage that doesn't decouple. Shoot. These are the ones that decouple. Okay, let me try and fix that. Okay, I opted for the checkerboard rings as the inner stages in this case. And that's not perfectly visually good for Saturn V, but now we have proper delta V readings. However, we don't have proper amounts in the tanks. So we're not gonna get where we need to go. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter. We're starting in space anyway. It's not like we're lifting off from the ground. Let me save this version, which is now more complicated. Well, it's supposed to be more complicated, but now it's only 39 kilobytes. I'm not entirely clear that's right. I mean, we've got more parts here. Why is it only 39? The one I made previously, which had more tanks though, is 148. But then the one without the inner stages was 80. So that's peculiar. Okay, but let's try it. Oh, already on. Oh, well, it's not sucking from the other tanks in the stack, so that's why it ran out quicker. Go. Well, I don't have the staging of the inner stage here. That's more advanced anyway. I don't know how our speed got to be 39 kilometers per second. I guess it was just directly picking up from where I left off. Interesting that it got so fast on the first stage when it doesn't seem to have that much delta V. Right, I mean, I think it was at 13 kilometers per second or something. You should only at about 21 kilometers. Well, should only end up at 21 kilometers per second. So I don't know how we got so fast. Okay. Staging our pseudo S4B stage. So this is just making up for the fact that I got it wrong in the previous video, and we can actually scale these up, though imperfectly. Eyeballing it, I couldn't make this perfectly round. Maybe there's some hotkey to maintain the scaling in 2 axes, but I don't know what that is. Possibly they haven't gotten to that part yet. So we're going to end up with some egg-shaped things, as it were. Much more respectable burn out of this particular stage. So at the moment, you probably should pick tanks that are as close to the size of the tank that you need as possible, so that it at least has something resembling the right amount of fuel. Of course, for the lower stages, those are too big to have anything even close, so I'm sure people will be clipping tanks in to make up for that. The way we're burning and sort of drifting sideways away from the planet is sort of funny. We're like this because of the earlier burns. There's a Luna encounter even. Ooh, it's wiggling a lot. Oh, whoa, 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 okay. 4x time warp might be too much. Oh, look at that. Whatever that thing, that vernier-ish thing is going all over the place. It's actually the gas generator exhaust, I would presume, but it's not having the best time ever. Alright, alright. Well, you get the point. Though, we have more delta V than expected. This stage is starting off with 7,500 meters per second, apparently. Oops, I always do escape to get back to places. Let's do editor toggle. Here it says 3.88. Here it says 3.88 and a thrust weight ratio of 0.82. And that's in vacuum, I guess. Yep. And then when we exit editor, here we have 7,500 meters per second. Thrust weight ratio seems right, right? Well, no, it's actually less out there. It says 0.7 out there, this says 0.82. Anyway, so this is just making up for the fact that I did not discover the scale mode before, and I can make a nicer Saturn V, but not a more functional Saturn V. So that's the rub. So I'll leave it here for this time. Well, we'll load up the nicer Saturn V and see it high over the Earth just for kicks. Oh, it apparently loaded this as the vehicle. That's not what I wanted. That's not my nicer Saturn V. Hold on. I guess it didn't really save it. I suspected as much. That's why it's only 39 kilobytes, right? Well, nice of them to tell us the size so that we know when it gets messed up. Alright, the one without the interstages, fine. It's probably not a thumbnail ready image, is it, if it's like that? If Earth is lit like that, well, I guess. It's sort of like that. There we are. So with that, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time.